Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your countdown to Whirl moment. So far, no real new updates. A couple of lines were discovered that needed to be recorded from both Bright Ideas and Cruiser were discovered. That's going to be re-recorded soon, as well as some lines that were never sent. We recently did some editing for it and was able to do a voice effect. I'm not going to tell you what we did, but needless to say, it worked out fine. Everybody's excited. Right now, the proposed date for when this thing's going to come out is now up to somewhere either at the tip end of December or somewhere in the middle of January. As you can tell, it's a big project. We're experimenting with a lot of stuff. So look forward to that. With that said, enjoy tonight's episode. Here's the title card.
Hit it, Cambot.
Oh, I start. I get it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, pick it up. Open up your heart and let the Patrick Swayze Christmas in.
We'll gather at the roadhouse with our next of kin.
Not bad.
And Santa can be our regular Saturday night thing.
We'll decorate a bar stool.
Season's greetings, fans of Mystery Brony Theater 4000. Welcome to MySTREAMy Brony Theater 4000, where we're filled with Christmas cheer and Hanukkah cheer and all that cheer that you come to know and love in the holidays. I am joined tonight with my usual sidekick, Justin Sprower, aka the Concert Cruiser.
What's up?
I didn't switch the test. There you go. And of course, also joining us tonight is our good friend Brawny Buck.
I don't know why you're giving holiday greetings right now. We're not even into December yet.
Okay, you're going to be that specific?
Yes.
And it's Merry Christmas.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of them, but it doesn't really matter.
Anyway, we wanted Brawny on to discuss a couple of things. One of them about the filming of King Sombra Ruins BronyCon video, which seems to have gotten a lot of positive feedback. I was one of the lucky cameramen who got to film that thing, and it was a lot of fun just seeing people's reactions to it and reading the comment section. Now,
yep.
Now, Brawny, that you actually made that costume too, right? You like all the metalwork and everything. You did that, right?
Not all of the metalwork, but I did. I did the accents, the crown. I gloved the gauntlets, and I made the sabatons. So, yeah.
How long did it take you for you to make this costume? Because it's actually rather intricate.
I'm trying to remember. For the parts that I didn't make, for the parts that I had to buy, that was obviously, just whatever time it took me to put into work to earn the money for that. And as far as the metalworking goes, let me see. The crown took about 12 hours, I think, just to get the cutting done. Which is pretty awful in terms of time, but all I had access to at the time that I made it was hand tools, so shears and hand sanders and things like that. Yeah, so and it was the same thing with the sabatons the first time I did them around, and then the second time I did them, it took about 8 hours, but it wasn't as bad because I was pretty much just taking the original ones apart and then putting them back together a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made them a third time because when I took them apart and put them back together, it was to clean them up for BabsCon in 2016. So what I did is I come again.
I said I forgot you went to BabsCon. Honestly.
Yeah, I did. It was fun. Had a lot of fun there. Went with my brother and his girlfriend, and met up with a lot of my colleagues and friends while I was there. In my opinion, it didn't have as much going for it as some of the other conventions I've been to, but that's aside the point. The second time I made the sabatons, I wanted to clean them up because I made them completely by hand the first time. They were really uneven and really jagged. So what I wanted to do was sand them down to shape and hammer them smooth so they looked good and wouldn't, and weren't a half size too big, so they wouldn't like catch on the floor if I didn't do like a marching goose step every time I wanted to walk. But somehow amidst that process, I shortened the metal, and what that did is that ended up putting a lot of pressure on the blades of my feet, on one of the feet, and so after walking around a few hours with 22 gauge steel rubbing against your feet like that, it actually wore down my completely sanded the blade of my foot down to the bone.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then I had the same problem at the Grand Brony Gala in 2016, especially doing all that fighting in that costume that I did that year. So I said, okay, I can't go to BronyCon, especially wanting to do this video with my shoes doing this to me. So I remade them again from scratch. This time I had power tools, and I still had the problem. So I didn't get nearly as much footage as I wanted to get, because I stopped before the blades of my feet got down to the bone this time, and yeah, just took the costume off and took a break before it became a real problem. So I got to go back to those Sabatons and figure out exactly what I'm doing wrong and why I was able to make them by hand the first time, and they fit. Aside from being too big around the toe, they fit perfectly, and then every other time I made them after that, they have that problem.
I can imagine that cosplay had a lot of problems going up there. I mean, like, I saw that thing built from the ground up, honestly. Like, I remember before you got the rest of the armor, you had the gauntlets.
Yeah, the first pair of gauntlets I had were a big problem too, because people would come up to be like, yeah, King Sombra, this is an awesome costume, and as far as I can tell, there's not, you'll usually get a few King Sombra cosplayers at any convention, but I've only ever seen one that was wearing full plate, other than myself. So it's, yeah, people like seeing that. Now, yeah, King Sombra, give me a bro hoof here. And I'll say, be very careful, I'm sharp. And then they completely disregard my warning and then do things like high five my knuckles.
Oh, yeah. That was the one thing I remember of those guards. When we did that thing at Downtown Disney where we were just walking around in costume, I was actually confused how they were able to let you do that, because it felt like you could literally punch someone in the face with those gauntlets and just skin like their nose off.
The first pair of gauntlets I had, they weren't articulated, and the knuckles on them came out about 2.5 inches, which, to give you some perspective, is the length that you're allowed to legally carry a knife. Is the length of a legal knife blade, past my actual fingers. They were pretty much Wolverine claws.
Oh yeah.
And a couple of people accidentally cut themselves on those things, and I felt really bad.
So you're thinking like, yeah.
So I switched those up for some ones that have actual articulated knuckles.
I mean, you still have the original gauntlets, don't you? Like. No,
not the originals. I gave those to a friend.
Oh, which friend was that?
Yeah. He one of my next door neighbor, my parents' next door neighbor up in New York, really likes Renaissance fairs, and he was trying to build up a suit of armor and everything like that, and he said, I have most of the pieces, I just need gauntlets. I said, well, you can have mine, because I've got 3 pairs now, and I'm not going to use these. I don't need them for anything, so I gave them to him.
Yeah, Sticky Sauce 101 says Sombra giving bro hoofs needs to be recurring at every con. FP&R says, Brawny, how does it feel to be the sexiest man in the U.S.?
I wouldn't know. But no, I don't. When I'm in that costume, I don't let people give me bro hoofs anymore. Especially because the gauntlets I wear now, they're still spiked, but they're spiked around the fingers this time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but I wear those because they have the perfect look. But now if people want to congratulate my pageantry, I will give them a high five, and I even then I'll say be careful, don't like catch the metal, but it's a lot better. It's a lot better if they slap my leather palm than my steel wrist.
Slap my leather palm, Brony Buck 2017. Like I can imagine that be a pain. I mean, like you don't want to give like. Of all the splinters I heard that you could get the worst one is like getting splinters with metal. It's like one of those.
Yeah, they're kind of painful. I've gone through a few sets of leather gloves making these pieces, and it's stuff that I'd be interested in making more of.
Yeah.
And I got a big long list of replicas and all kinds of things I want to make and put out into the fandom to see if anybody else would want them. But I haven't had the space or the tools to actually make them yet. And if I were to go back to the original question of the crown took, I think, 12 hours to make. And that was, again, hand tools, a hand drill, shears,
oh my God.
And sanders, things like that, and it's pretty uneven in itself. But I still have the original crown that I made. I've been meaning to remake that.
The beta crown, and by the way, Brandon Gimmer, yes, it was real metal. Yeah, I think didn't I see the original beta crown? Like,
yeah, that thing was made out of EVA foam because somebody convinced me I would be able to make it out of EVA foam, and it turns out no, you can't.
I thought it was tinfoil. That's why I could have swore I remember it was made of tinfoil.
It was wrapped in aluminum tape.
Close enough. I mean,
yeah. And I use aluminum tape for a lot of things.
I gotta look up and see if I have a picture of you and.
It's very strong and very. It looks like metal. In fact, there was a time where I didn't have a chance because steel needs to get polished and oiled regularly, otherwise it pits and it rusts and it loses its color.
Oh yeah.
There was a time where I didn't have a chance to polish my crown, so I wrapped it in aluminum tape, and that. Gave it its shine back. I didn't polish it, I just covered it up. But I've been meaning to get around to remaking that too, and I know I can do it a lot better than I did the first time.
Now, you talked about the gloves or the gauntlets, and one issue we kept running into, and it kills me that this happened because we got some great footage that we could not use, was the material kept getting caught on the microphone switch.
Oh, yeah. Something I've been considering doing, and I meant to show you guys what I was thinking about the last time I saw you, but we didn't get a chance. I was considering switching out the gauntlets for a pair of bracers that I found online, and they look very Sombra, but the trade-off that I'd be making here is that the gauntlets look perfect. However, they're these big metal gloves, and I basically have no hands when I use them. I can't grab anything. If I want to handle my phone or reach for my wallet, I have to take the gauntlet off. I'm constantly having to re-glove the fingers because for some reason I have yet to find a glue that'll stick the faux leather to the steel. And I think I've tried everything. I've tried everything from hot glue to epoxy to industrial strength epoxy. Nothing works. So the bracers, while they might not look as good, would remove that problem. And then, maybe people could give me a bro hoof, or I wouldn't have to warn them about my sharp edges so much, and I'd be able to handle things like my phone and my wallet, or open doors while I was in costume. So it's a little bit of a trade-off.
Yeah, there was one infamous clip. I wish we could we were able to salvage this, but hopefully we can have a chance to do it again the next time. We can take us to a con where Brawny actually found someone else cosplaying as King Sombra when we were filming this.
And did you film it? I can remember.
Yeah, we did, but it didn't. Him and I got in like these arguments, if you want to call them that. But the sound didn't come out right, and even then, upon review, we weren't saying anything particularly funny. It was just the idea of two Sombras in full plate armor bickering back and forth about which one is the real Sombra that might have been funny.
Yeah, that would have been drawn upon. That was the one thing about... Sorry, go on.
You ended it on such a funny line, though.
Yeah, so, if I remember correctly, and to deviate for just a second, I should tell you guys that I don't always remember the things that I say when I'm in that costume.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I go into like this, I get into character, I go into this improv mode, I go into like this ranting mode, and I don't always, I'm not like fully conscious when I'm in that state of mind.
Don't let him start going into the makeup.
So but what I do remember is I saw him and I said, "Oh, how something." I accused him of being a changeling because he must be a changeling because I'm the real King Sombra. And he goes, "Oh no, it's you." And we're going back and forth like that a little bit. And I said, "No, I know it's you because you're here with Queen Chrysalis." He had this Queen Chrysalis near him. It's clear that they were like there at the convention together, so I'm assuming that was his date. I don't know.
Oh my god.
But I said, "What are you doing here with her then? If you're not a changeling?" And then we went back and forth a little bit more. I can't remember what was said, but when it was done, I ran out of things to say. I said, "I don't believe you," and I started walking away. He said, "I don't believe you," and he said, "I don't believe you," and I said, "I don't believe me either." And then he shouts, "We'll settle this on the dance floor."
Oh my god. I'm gonna imagine, just the way you're wording it and the way it sounded must have had a real dull result. I mean,
well, no, that's just the way I talk. If you were there, it was pretty intense.
Oh my god!
I kept bumping into that guy, and every time I bumped into that guy, it was another argument.
Of course it would be. You get in arguments with everybody, so either way works. I mean,
Yeah.
The whole protect your king thing, like we gotta slap that on a button. We do.
There you go.
I don't think that would make a good. Well, maybe it could make a good button. I think it would make a really good T-shirt though. We'll get somebody to make like a cartoon version of me in that costume with that girl that's hugging me, and I just have that absolute distraught look on my face. With the caption "Protect your king." And I think that would make a really good T-shirt.
I'm already picturing it right now.
Yeah.
And the other time you used that was with that weird furniture thing that someone was selling.
What?
Oh, I did it 3 times in that video. But yeah, there was I know what you're talking about. There was people there selling these really high quality beanbag chairs, and I don't remember what they were called, but they had them all stacked up, and I walked in there and said, "Ah, yes, a throne for your king." And then I sat down, but I sat down on it wrong, so I fell. And on the way down, I got scared and yelled, "Protect your king."
Way to improv there. I mean, I can imagine it was hard to get up.
No, it's not. It's not that hard to move around in that armor. Armor isn't. Full plate armor isn't nearly as heavy as or clunky as people think it is.
It's actually better than
a full suit armor.
Chainmail.
I wouldn't say that either.
You had a chainmail, didn't you?
I've never had chainmail.
Oh, I thought you did at one point.
I've never worn chainmail. I'm pretty sure that chainmail is more flexible and it's probably lighter, but full plate. The trick is you need to wear it properly. but like a full set of armor will probably weigh about 50 to 60 pounds. And and even in like history books out, like at school, I used to see, the armor would weigh up to 120 pounds. And it's like, no, I've worn full plate suits of armor, and it's not that much. My entire Sombra costume altogether weighs 30 pounds with all that plate, which is not anything. Now, sure, if you put 30 pounds in a sack and sling it over your back, or if you're wearing a backpack that weighs 30 pounds, you're gonna and carry it around all day, you're gonna have a problem. But if it's spread throughout your body and it's fitted properly and it's strapped in properly and you've got padding to put so that the metal isn't rubbing against your skin, then you'll hardly feel it.
Okay, well, Nathaniel Lockridge has a question for Brawny. Sorry to interrupt you. Brawny, Nathaniel Lockridge says, Brawny, has anybody ever told you that you sound like a real deep Steve Blum? I'm sorry, Steve Burns.
I've never heard that. I've gotten many comparisons before, but not that one.
What's the most common comparison? I want to know.
Harry Plinklet.
I don't know who that is.
Well, anyway, going back to the thing, plate armor versus chainmail. There was a program that used to air on Spike TV called Deadliest Warrior, where they, would put two warriors in a battle simulation who would actually win. And they once did Joan of Arc versus William the Conqueror, and they tested both their armors. Joan had steel plate armor, while William had chainmail. And as it turns out, chainmail actually reduced his what's the word I'm looking for here?
Damage.
No,
Wound.
It didn't reduce his
Blood.
damage, but mobility. It reduces mobility by 26%.
Should have collected more rupees.
The tests they do on that show are not very accurate, to be totally honest. Some of them are, but some of them they just get wrong. Like one that stood out to me was Vikings versus Samurai. And they brought out a Japanese archer. Their guy that was representing the samurai was, and he could call his shots from 60 yards out. And it was really impressive archery. He managed to stick the eyeballs on the target from 60 yards out.
Jesus. While
the target was wearing a helmet, which I think is really cool. And the guy that they had representing the Norsemen couldn't do that. But that just comes down to a matter of individual skill. And there are plenty of longbow bowmen reenactors at Renaissance conventions that can, and Renaissance fairs that can call shots that elaborate from twice the distance.
Well,
it's hardly a fair comparison of things. And I told you that just to tell you that because they fail to consider things like that.
Okay, but what I'm just referring to was just strictly the mocap they got from testing the two suits of armor. That was it.
Yeah, so that now chainmail is a lot more flexible. And it was generally a lot easier to wear, and it was really good at preventing slashing damage. Whoever they had wearing that, I would sooner guess that the individual was not as good at moving in the chainmail as the guy wearing plate was at moving. It's going to come down to the individual way more often than anything else, than any other factor.
Yeah, I can imagine that one there. Anyway, what Higgins? What would you say? What else do you want to add on to this with that after eating that giant cookie you're eating?
Well, we had a scene with Dusty where we originally wanted Dusty to play a bad guy, but he absolutely refused.
Oh yeah, I can imagine Dusty like a live action bad guy or just a
No. We asked Dusty if he wanted to be in it, and when he heard what it was, he declined initially because it's not because what we were doing is insult comedy. It's roasting, and he doesn't like that kind of thing, and didn't at first want to be a part of it. But then we kind of played to that. Okay, maybe he would rather deliver some kind of comeuppance, because I thought I did really want him in my video. I knew that would be a good addition to have there, and that's when we came up with the idea. Okay, well, why don't you just punch me in the face?
I mean, who doesn't want to punch Brawny in the face?
I want to punch Brony in the face.
Everybody wants to. I technically got my comeuppance yesterday, and so did Justin. We'll get to that in a couple moments, though, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody got. Oh no, we're not. No, we won't, because that video is not online yet.
Well, if you want, well, I mean, we did an entire.
Everybody got their comeuppance yesterday. I'll tell you that much.
Except for me and Cruiser. Actually, Cruiser didn't get any of it yesterday. Brandon.
I had a nice, good. We'll say Looney Tunes moments.
I mean, you did the stream yesterday, and it was like people were getting excited.
That was actually a lot of fun to make. I have to admit that was a lot of fun.
Are we still talking about what we did yesterday, or are you talking about the King Sombra video?
Oh, sorry, I kind of switched perspectives there.
Yeah. Both, actually, because I had fun shooting a lot of those things. That was the first time I ever got to do a better, well, not better, but a bigger production of what your content is. Because when we first met, you basically were known for doing a buck to the face and moral of the story. Now you've actually branched out, started doing some live action stuff, and I got to take part in two projects of it already, and both of them were a lot of fun.
Well, I've done 3, so yeah.
It's and going back to BronyCon, I think probably the best response we got in that video was actually the second guy who appeared in there, where King Sombra goes, "So how's it feel to be the only Brony that came here with his girlfriend?" And he's got this giant plushie, a Flutterbat, and he goes, "She didn't say yes." I figured. Then he walks away.
Yeah, that one threw me through a little bit of I remember doing that one. That one threw me through a little bit of a loop, because I was implying that his plushie was his girlfriend, and I did that to about 4 other people that day.
You just wanted to choose which one had the better response and everything.
And yeah, well, basically, anytime I saw somebody with a plushie, I made the implication that they were romantically involved with it. So, big giant Flutterbat over his shoulder, and I say, "How did it feel to be the only Brony to come with a girlfriend today?" And then he goes, "She didn't say yes." Well, that throws whatever I was doing right out the window. So now, okay, yeah, fine. You don't have a girlfriend. You don't get to have a girlfriend because you're a Brony. I'll see you later.
Have a crappy day. Good night.
Yeah.
So
hope your house burns down.
Well, what was going to be what were you hoping he was going to say?
I wasn't hoping he was going to say anything in particular. The idea was to get other people's reactions to my messing with them.
So you were literally
anything would have worked, but when you yourself, when you're doing improv comedy and roast comedy, and you yourself get thrown through a loop, with a response that you weren't expecting, it can be tough to recover. And I'll fully admit that I'm not the best, or even I don't even think I'm all that great at improv comedy.
Oh, I'm that same way. I'm still learning the ropes at most. I mean, when we do Mystery Brony Theater, it's so much capturing the action rather than the jokes. I mean, we're like I said, we're experimenting with formulas in the next season.
Yeah, you got to be able to think really well off the top of your head. And when it comes to dialogue, I'm a much better writer than I am a talker.
Well, that's the thing. Like with improv, from what I heard, this is actually from most improv class I heard. One of the top rules is not to think. It's just like say what you can do.
Yeah, exactly. But
it just depends
in
on how
in that sense, for somebody like me who thinks a lot and likes to plan out their moves, then improv comedy becomes a little bit more difficult.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't anybody that I went up to that I didn't go up to them and already know exactly what I was going to say to them. I went up to Dusty and knew exactly what I was going to say to Dusty. I went up to that guy with the plushie with the flutter bet, and I knew exactly what I was going to say to him.
You didn't give him like
when
a
I
sneak
saw
peek,
that.
you like literally.
When I saw that skinny guy with the big beard, I knew exactly what I was going to say to him. I'm here with Santa Claus. Tell me, Santa Claus, what was it like on the Slim Fast diet?
Did you like plan that stuff with him, or did you just literally walk up to people and just started doing that?
I would walk up to people, and I would say, would you like to be in a video? And if they said yes, I would explain what it was, because especially with like roasting,
yeah,
you wanna make sure that people know that you're doing that, because if somebody objects to it and you just hit them with that, especially something harsh, then it only takes 1 or 2 complaints to security to get you tossed from a convention.
Oh yeah. I was about to say. I mean, like if it's done cruelly, it's just that kind of like that. Other than that,
Yeah, and we paid all this money and drove, drove 700 800 miles to Maryland to do this convention. I'm not about to get us thrown out with my stupidity.
I mean, like with that. I've been wanting to do that for a while there. It depends on which character I want to do. I'm usually just one of those characters that would be approached rather than other characters approaching them. Because namely the characters I choose to cosplay are just not really that interactive. I mean, one of my characters is just a hooded guy with keyblades.
Everyone that we asked to do that with was a really good sport. The one that I was thrilled that he was willing to work with us was this guy who was selling this lewd artwork or fan art of the ponies with like big breasts or maybe quite the hip to waist ratio.
Oh boy,
we're quite voluptuous is the word you're looking for.
Thank you. And Brawny comes and says, how do you say the line, Brawny?
I walked up to him and I said, and it was actually your idea, by the way. Yes, you said,
of course it was.
Hey, you should say something about this booth with the really suggestive artwork.
Yeah, because
and I looked at it for a second and I said, okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. So I got him. I said, do you want to be in a video? He comes. I said, can you come around, please? So I walk up to him and I say, excuse me, how do you feel having contributed to having contributed to the decline in birth rates with your unrealistic body standards?
Exactly, because honestly, like I thought it was going to make him look like a creep or something like that, but no, he was game for it.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that.
And then he had a really good reaction. He just like looked, he got all scared and slowly backed away, and then started running, and I chased after him.
Oh yeah. Okay, Brian Ginder says, "Hey, Brawny, you can roast me." I don't know there. I mean, like, what would you roast him with? What spices?
I don't know this person.
I know.
So, I don't know if I could see him. If I was there, I might be able to come up with something.
Let me see. But according to this thing, he looks like a. Apparently, this is Brian Ginder. According to his profile picture, he's Luna in the moon. So, would you roast the moon?
Probably.
Do you know the moon well?
Nope.
I mean,
I don't.
I mean, Justin and me kind of worship the sun, but I believe in the sun.
Anyway, what was another really great incident? The scene on the second floor with all the ravers, that was actually good.
Like Brony just doing the whole thing.
Like these people doing like these weird techno dances, and there's someone's going. Mm-hmm. And then he does like the worst thing I've ever seen. Goes, "You got served."
Yeah.
Like that's all I had to do. Like I'm so badass. All I had to do was just wave my arms and boom, that's it. You're my bitch.
Sticky Sauce 101 says, "Moon, you are but a small chunk of Earth it did not want." Great. What about that?
Yeah, that works. And there was also the kid with a Pokeball too. That was I felt like that was actually appropriate to just take it. Got you. You're mine.
Yeah. I kidnapped a couple of people. I kidnapped him. I kidnapped Moonlight Sonata.
You tried to kidnap Will's
And
fiance.
Yeah, that's what I just.
Oh,
Moonlight
sorry.
Sonata.
Oh, you
Yeah.
Well, more you didn't
And
kidnap
Will,
her. You
like,
tried.
Willer.
You tried.
And I kidnapped that one dude who was just playing the acoustic guitar in the hallway.
The last thing you want, ladies and gentlemen, is for Brony to just come in the middle of your room at night and just reach in and kidnap you. Weird things happen.
Something that I wish we had gotten on tape is after because Cruiser had to leave and take care of his autographs, which is cool. But I stayed in costume and wandered around for a while, and I was still messing with people, and I got some really good. There were some really good interactions that never got on tape in the first place. Never mind the stuff that got cut. So one of them was I'm walking past, and these two like young teenage girls. They're probably 14.
Hey, look at that. Master Code is in the chat.
Of course he is. And we'll tell that story later. So I walk past him and I'm messing with a bunch of people, and this Twilight and this Fluttershy cosplayers, young girls, go, you get out of here, King Sombra. Oh, okay, target acquired. So I turn around, and I was like, and I start like doing that strut that I do when I wear that costume.
Oh, that whole like
kind
of like that thing there.
Yeah, where I'm just obnoxiously waving my shoulders back and forth, just making a point of rattling my armor as I walk. And I go,
you know when he's coming.
I go, I'm coming for those wings, Twilight. And they freaked out and ran out of whatever line they were waiting in. I was like, I'm coming for that tiara too. It looks better on me anyway.
I mean, you would look amazing in a tiara, honestly. I'm just saying.
I that was another thing. I would steal people's hats and be like, it looks better on me anyway, and then just like walk away.
Last century's girlfriend, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was a fun one.
And the thing is that I wish we would have thought of this, but then again, I don't know if I saw anybody cosplaying as this. I want to have someone cosplaying as Derpy, walk up and just pat him on the shoulder.
Yeah, that we didn't. There was we thought of that while we were there, but we didn't see anybody in the immediate vicinity that was cosplaying as Derpy.
Are you serious? That's actually one of the characters that you'd think you'd see there, honestly.
There was somebody, and I didn't get a chance to do this one either, but there was somebody walking around as Flutterbat.
Oh boy.
And this might be pushing the line for me. It might be, in fact, it might be a little over the line. But I was thinking, okay, if I get a chance to bump into her, I want to go up to her and be like, hey, I got a question for you. How many apples have you sucked today?
Oh God.
Another one that we missed on tape was I walked into a panel to meet up with Sweetie Bloom. She was at a panel of it was I Love Kim Possible Lot's panel.
Was she hosting it or was she?
She was hosting
yeah.
it
You
with
just
a few people that work with her, and I had a couple of jokes for her, but I never got around to doing them.
Oh, can you
and
explain?
I'm not going to say them here. I'm not going to say them here because I want to save for later.
Of course.
Because maybe I'll get a chance to do this again. But I sit down in the front and center next to Sweetie Bloom just to hang out. And KP says something along the lines of you got to get your friends to help you when you're doing these videos because friendship is magic in that super awkward way that she does just about everything. And I said I disagree. And she goes, Sombra, you can leave, because that was like the third time I heckled her as Sombra. I go, well, fine. And I stood up and made a big clanking scene as I walked towards the door, and with completely distracted from her panel, people laughing the whole time. I get to the door, and then I turn back around and say, "Wait a second, I'm the king. I don't have to take this crap." And I went right back down and sat where I was. People still laughing the whole time.
I couldn't tell whether she was being serious or whether she was just messing with you. I mean,
she probably a bit of both.
she looks like the type of. She seemed to be like the type of person that would be the type that would do both either way. I mean,
yeah, well, I don't know her that well, but when most people can only take so much of King Sombra's heckling. If you guys can remember the first time I pulled something like this, which is Grand Brony Gala 2, I think.
I will not let you tell that thing if you don't want to tell it. It's just like the whole thing with that.
No, because, well, if anything, it gives an origin story for this, is because we found out that when I put on this costume, just every aspect of me that's a jerk gets turned up to like 11. And like I said, I don't remember everything I say because I just go into a completely different mindset when I get into character like that. And at the when I was on cast as King Sombra for Grand Brony Gala 2,
oh boy,
we had this dinner. It would be dinner and a show thing.
Oh yeah.
And I sat at the table with the rest of the villains and just heckled the show the whole time. And I said all kinds of, and everybody laughed every time. And then I picked a fight with so we got this guy that goes to the Grand Brony Gala. He is of Native American descent.
Oh,
and he likes to cosplay as Chief Thunderhooves.
Yeah, he was amazing. Love that cosplayer.
And the play got to this part where they made a quip about the buffaloes blocking the tracks because they don't want the train to run through their thing, and there was a plot point for some reason, and it was like a night ruining plot point. It was a point of conflict for the play.
Oh yeah.
So King Sombra slams his hand on the table and gets up. And sometimes with that costume, I wear this sword that I painted to look like his horn.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was awesome.
I draw the sword and I pointed at him and I said, "I knew we couldn't trust you, dirty buffaloes."
Oh.
And then went on a rant for like 4 minutes.
Well, he played off
about
it.
How I was going to take over his land and everything like that.
Well, yeah, he played off it as well. He played off it with you.
Yeah, he did.
And he did great. He was a good guy.
He just he didn't say anything. He just stood there like the Indians from the old Peter Pan movie and crossed his arms and looked tough, and it was great.
Well, I remember him rising as a response, like of that controversy or something. I remember him coming out of his seat and just pointing out at the stage or something like that.
Kuma, he's got a great sense of humor. He doesn't take things too seriously. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
But probably the one that you were at least infamously known for within the Gala staff was what you said to Rarity.
Oh my god, that
one
story.
Was first.
Oh, this.
So after that scene with Chief Thunderhooves, a whole scene goes by, and then Rarity's dress got torn by accident. And we're trying to figure out who did it. And, of course, Rainbow Dash thinks it was one of the villains that did it.
Yep.
And so she goes, "Rarity, what did it feel like when your dress got torn?" So, she's, like, trying to figure out who, what if it felt a certain way, then that would narrow it down. Rarity gets all dramatic and goes, "It felt like the defiling of something innocent." This was not scripted. None of what I said was scripted. I had no lines in that play, despite the amount of trash talking I did.
Oh, yeah. Thank God you did not.
And she goes, "It felt like the defiling of something innocent." Oh, what do you know about the defiling of the innocent?
I don't think I've ever heard that story, actually. Honestly,
you were there.
No, I was in the back. I was in the back the whole time.
You should have heard it still.
No, I couldn't have heard anything. I was...
And then everybody started bursting out laughing, right? And that laughter went on for about 30 seconds before people realized what they were laughing at. And then it slowly died down into this guilt-filled laughter, like, oh.
What did I just laugh at?
It's like when you're waiting for the joke to sink in, and then you just realize, oh, God.
That was the joke that everybody laughed at, but nobody wanted to.
It's got jokes like that. Don't get a chance to happen very often because, like, one I remember was from the late Ralphie May, where it was on his album Girth of a Nation. And for those of you who don't get the joke. Ralphie May was a very heavy-set, obese man. And he was going on one of these late-night talk shows to do, just have, do some stand-up. And they told him to not do jokes about the mentally handicapped. It's like, can you just please not use the word retarded? Like, why? Because it's offensive? And then he's like, to who? Makes you think about it, and you can hear the crowd of people, they're laughing, but they're trying hard not to, because unlike your joke, Brawny, they immediately got it. And for those of you who don't know, what the point he was trying to make was that people who are mentally challenged aren't offended by that word because they're too mentally handicapped to be offended by it. It's everyone else around it who is. But so jokes like that, I would say require a degree of creativity to come up with. But Brawny, he just hit the nail on the head.
Exactly.
Well, if you were to ask me to do that right now, there's no way I'd be able to do it because I'm not in the costume.
Yeah.
I have to really get into that mindset and that character in order to be able to do that.
There you go.
And it was, it's only when you put me in a context where I can separate from myself, because I'm, in life I am a freaking prude.
Yes.
And I often talk. Okay, let's be nice to each other. I'm a peace lover. Let's solve our problems and learn more about each other. You would never get that kind of thing out of Brawny Buck. You could get it out of King Sombra, though.
One thing you probably should do as another video series, if the opportunity ever arises itself, is just like our own little Brony roast show where we actually bring on pony content, a roast of them,
like a roast of every single like analyst or something like that. Yeah,
like bring in various analysts and we'll do a roast of them, kind of like we do on roasts.
That's actually something I wanted to do on my birthday one time.
That's certainly not to say that I'm not capable of doing things like that, but you got to get me angry, and it's not something you want to do on purpose, because if someone's angry, then that just takes the fun out of it.
Well, I can think of a way. I mean, after all, if you went to my sister's house, you would have found a tarantula.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have I could imagine I would have gotten pretty expletive if I saw a tarantula with
when we were in the house,
arachnophobic self.
Oh, you guys froze.
When we were in the house, right? Well, Cruiser's gone. He's just looking at me on the side here. Looking like he's agreeing with me on everything.
He said he froze. He's restarting his Skype.
Oh, great. Anyway, one of the things I want to say is we actually went to his sister's house yesterday, and I went inside to use the restroom, and I tell his sister, we can go to Disney World anytime we went there, and he's like, and Justin's like, oh, by the way, wait, Evan, just to let you know, there's a tarantula in this house, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, it's right behind you, and I'm like, and literally, I'm running out of the room, like, nope, and I'm just out of the room.
Yeah.
Justin takes a photo of it, and he's trying to me. I'm like, please, no, I don't like spiders.
Yeah, I can't handle spiders either.
Yeah. Oh, look, he's back.
Yeah, my computer froze.
Your computer froze, or was it just Skype?
So yeah, that's and I think that comes from when I was younger and didn't care as much and would roast people regularly, family, friends, enemies, didn't matter, and just make fun of people. And yeah, I was good at it back then, especially and when I was given permission to specifically be a jerk to people, like when I worked at a haunted house in 2009, I came up with all kinds of crazy nonsense that nobody in their right mind would come up with when I went to go scare people. I got in some dude's face and went, brains, bones, and eyeballs tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things, and it just came off right off the top of my head.
That's the weird thing. Like when you're in that character, you just know what to do, know what to say, and how to perform.
Yeah, and King Sombra, as I do that costume, is pretty much the same mentality.
Well, that's the thing about King Sombra that I liked about you. It's more like you. Like King Sombra in the show didn't really have much of a personality, namely because of his appearance, because him not really doing much. But I think you sort of gave more life into the character through your cosplay. Honestly.
Yeah, I certainly could put a spin on it that's unique from the show. But the reason that I can get into that character so well is because King Sombra is one of my favorite characters in the show in entirety. Even with all that and people were saying, oh, he didn't get a lot of screen time, he didn't get any development, we don't know, and that's actually what got me into analysis, is people saying that about King Sombra, and I was like, you guys don't understand me since Dawn. And let me tell you about how awesome King Sombra is.
This is coming from the guy who made King Sombra's Last Stand before the episode came out.
No. That was Blue Shift. That was Blue Shift on Film Fiction. And he saw the leaked concept art for King Sombra and just wrote a comedy story based around that. But yeah, and then he uploaded that story a couple of weeks before season 3 premiered.
Well, yeah, like someone here, Sticky Sauce 101 says Sombra in the show was just a force of nature, really.
I wouldn't say force of nature. He represented depression itself. So I guess that's a force of nature, but it's a very specific one. Cruiser, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, continue on with what you were going to say about what you figured out about King Sombra from. Well,
it's not that hard to figure out, even just within what we're presented in the show. Like, I don't have to go into the comics or go into fan theories to show you how they explicitly talk about what the Crystal Empire means to Equestria and how it reflects the state of its citizens across the country, and how emotions can spread like they do, and how the Crystal Heart, which is fueled by camaraderie and friendship, is maintains that. It's fueled by love itself, and not just any specific type of love, because there's 4 different kinds, but all of them is what fuels it and drives out things that come in and corrupt it and use your fears against you to prevent you from basically being yourself. And we saw that in the Crystal Ponies when they started remembering what it was like to be a Crystal Pony and driving out, the influence that Sombra had on them. They started perking up and they started becoming themselves more. And then Sombra's moving in. So Sombra represents fear and depression and what it can do to you. And from that, the way we see everybody come together and power the Crystal Heart to get rid of him represents the solution to that as well. So that's just, and that's a really sloppy way of putting it, because I'm not that good at talking, but
yeah,
I did
I agree.
A script a long time ago where I explained it much more elaborately, both in the story of the Crystal Empire, and Brony Debates Understanding Characterization, the Sombra section.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I remember I worked with you a little bit on that video, because it was kind of a response to a video that a former analysis creator, Tommy Oliver, made.
Oh boy, Tommy Oliver.
Yeah, it was understanding characterization, and it was really a rebuttal to analysis in general, and how they would say, every time a new episode would come out, somebody was acting out of character. Mm-hmm. And that the purpose of Brony Debates Understanding Characterization was not to say no, they're not acting out of character. They're multifaceted characters, which, if people don't understand that and they're trying to analyze storytelling, what the heck are you doing? That is a very basic skill.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was even Tommy who said that to him, Spike had no concrete characterization because, like, him getting having I guess you can call it stage fright for doing for lighting the torch at the Crystal Games. Was that what it was?
Equestria Games.
At the Equestria Games. But he doesn't buy that because Spike defeated King Sombra. In reality, he really didn't. Spike was told to fetch some gem. He dropped it, then dove in after it. Then Cadence caught him. That was it.
Yeah, it was a collaborative effort that was, fueled by in the moment courage, which, as we've seen in multiple times with Spike, he always, even if he might crumple under low pressure circumstances, but when the chips are down, he always finds the courage, which I think is really cool. But the fact that a lot of people can't see that is I just don't understand how they don't see it. In if I were to simplify it. But Spike was one of the characters I covered in that video too. And when I started writing that video, I was going to try to rebuke each criticism for each character that I had ever heard. But the script got to be 20 pages, and I wasn't half done. So I said, nope. And I said, okay, who gets the worst of it? Spike, Sombra, Fluttershy. And I focused the script on that.
Yeah, because I even told this to you, that the internet has essentially become a place for complaining. Now, not that some things don't deserve criticism, and not that sometimes these things aren't jokes, but when you're getting into this just for the sake of criticizing, it shows that perhaps maybe you're just here to try to complain and stir up trouble, not so much to interject anything different.
The theory that I would put to it is more so bandwagoning. A lot of people, especially reviewers of any kind, really, movie reviewers, show reviewers of any kind. I mean, I've seen the same things that Brony analysts do. I've seen it in the Avatar fandom, and especially Korra, Steven Universe, Gravity Falls while it was running, Star versus the Forces of Evil. It's a very common thing nowadays, and people see other people getting attention for these things, and they want that attention as well. But the problem is, the problems come about when they can't, or for whatever reason don't. Because I believe that everybody can, but the process of actually doing so takes a lot of effort. So they don't put the effort into coming up with their own opinions, or understanding that if they agree with someone that's already said something, maybe you don't need to make another 20-minute video of your own where you unscriptedly ramble into a camera about whatever it is you're thinking, taking forever to say the same thing that somebody else had said in 3 minutes. So yeah. And that's a very pretentious explanation, but that is what happens, and I catch people doing that all the time.
Yeah, it's like with one of the things of Hoof Rock, you may notice I tend to do a lot. I tend to say a lot of positive things. Well, for one thing, I really don't hate a lot of the songs that they make for the show. Two, the other thing is that I rarely get that angry over content, because even if I legitimately do not like something, this doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It could just mean it wasn't meant for me. Or perhaps maybe I'm just not into that kind of style, be it a song or a story or whatever. The other thing is that...
Or effect.
What's that?
Or effect.
Or effect?
Let that sink in just for a couple of moments.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
and for what you do, Cruiser, for music, that works really well because music tends to be something a little more subjective. There's very few objective constants in something like music.
Yeah,
but
the songs of MLP are written differently compared to modern pop songs, which are just a catchy hook. That's essentially it.
Yeah.
Because for someone like Daniel or even the new person that got to do Equestria Girls, they not only have to come up with something that sounds good, but something that also reflects the show, the story, the characters. So it's a bit more complex than just writing a radio pop song.
Right. But when you're dealing with things like storytelling and characterization, that's a much more exact science. I believe that there's a lot more objectivity in there, unless the author subscribes to Death of the Author. So, because more often than not, when people are telling a story, it's a creative way of delivering a message. Well, a message can really only have one meaning, because otherwise, unless it's specifically intended to have to be a gray area, to be left open to interpretation. If you have a message rooted in some kind of morality, well, then all that matters is whether or not that philosophy would work in objective reality, if it's applicable to a certain situation. So when it comes to writing characterization, there's a lot more matter of fact factors that go into something like that.
Yeah, and of course, Evan doesn't really analyze anything. He's just there to riff on cartoons, which is good. Don't get me wrong. Riffing is a lot of fun. But the other thing too, with just getting mad on the internet, it's too easy. Anybody can do it. It's for me. I look at being comically angry the same way that I look at political jokes. It's just too easy, and you're just pandering. That's really it. AVGN, really kind of launched it into AVGN and Nostalgia Critic. I would say is the one who kind of made angry comedy very popular. And while it still can be funny, don't get me wrong, that seems to be the main shtick of everyone on YouTube, or at least most people.
Well, angry comedy has been popular for forever. Think about stand-up comedians from 1970 on.
Sam Kinison, he was...
a lot of the most popular ones were very loud, were very angry, very cynical, very vulgar. And that's far before the common person had access to the internet. So it's just a matter of that we tend to apply it a lot more to critiquing our entertainment media. And some people do get legitimately upset about these things, and sometimes it's for a good reason. Like if you believe that let's take ponies for example, and you say that a lesson in a particular episode was not applicable for some reason. Well, yeah, because now we're dealing with objective morality, and getting that wrong does have real life consequences, especially if you start emulating that behavior. But if you're getting mad at the Batman versus Superman movie because you don't like the way Batman was characterized, or you don't like the fact that he was played by Ben Affleck or something like that, how about you take that energy that you would have put into an angry email, or God forbid even a freaking death threat to whoever produced that content, and take that energy and instead use it to something productive, like creating something, or maybe critiquing the way that like your local politics are run. It, like if there's an injustice in policy there, and try to actually make a difference. Right now, all you're doing is shouting about a movie, and that'll ultimately have very little effect on your life. I mean, shoot, you could forget that you watched it in the first place and be all the same as you were before you went into it.
Yeah, because honestly, like getting angry at media these days almost means nothing. In fact, it can actually even help.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, the only media that I would get legitimately mad at would be either if I felt like it was propaganda, or I get mad at a lack of journalistic integrity. Because but those things have real life consequences that affect people, and that's something that I care a lot about. Is when you start affecting people's lives. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to get. I mean, but it's for all the yelling I do on a buck to the face. I'm not legitimately angry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a satirical character. I know that.
Now, Evan, what exactly have you been writing here? Because you've been fiddling with pens and markers here. What are you doing here? Because I see you fiddling with pens and markers and paper. What are you writing?
I'm not writing anything. All I just did was just draw this picture of a cow. I got very bored, so I decided to draw a picture of a cow.
Well, what's something that you would like to say? I mean, how do you feel about what we're talking about, and would you say that it can apply to your show, Mystery Brony Theater?
In terms of just like the anger and everything like that.
Yeah, like has an episode like ever gotten you this angry, or at least ticked?
It depends on the content, and he just asked me that and just left.
Well, I'm still here. You still got me.
And besides, I'm still in the room, dude.
Okay, like, well, when since the very beginning here, the whole thing was we were just. The thing with Mystery Brony Theater is that most of the characters, especially the ones from the human world, are kind of stupid. But like, the whole deal is that when I was watching it, it was just at first like everything is terrible and everything like that. I mean, like one guy in the comment section here named Long Live Aikenfold87, is that what it's pronounced? I apologize if it's wrong. Here it says that Newborn Cuties was the equivalent of Birdemic, which I agree very much. It's just like, from what I heard, like I haven't seen the second Newborn Cuties special. I'm just going to lay these two down here. But when you look at like the only thing that usually gets me mad is just in terms of animation and how lazy it can get. Like in Newborn Cuties as being one of the example. Like if you watched, you guys saw the Newborn Cuties episode we did on Facebook, didn't you?
Yeah, I believe so.
Ronnie?
Yep.
Well, like, the thing that just got me legitimately mad about that is how much effort wasn't put into that. And from what I heard with the other Newborn Cuties episode, it's the fact that the one we saw has no mouth movement, no dialogue. Well, there's dialogue, but there's, like, no mouth movement, and there's only, like, GIF animation. Like, whenever they talk, the heads are just, like, moving and everything like that. But the second one, there's literally just mouth movements and more specific animation, as if... And they were released almost at the same point. So, like, usually the things when it comes to content that gets me angry is just the effort, really. I mean, unless it's, like, ironically supposed to be bad. Like, an example being, like, I don't know, like, Space Ghost or, like, C-Lab, for example, where you can tell it's just there for convenience. Or, like, to just imply that there's just a low-budget style of animation or something like that.
Right. And that's exactly it. When things like that happen, it's directly correlated to the budget that was invested into it.
Exactly. As for, in terms of content, nothing really much angered me a lot. It's just usually with, like I said, when I'm watching stuff, I'm trying to apply to my character being kind of an idiot, but, like, it just depends on what the content is. Like, I haven't seen anything that I saw that delivered anything bad worth lately or anything like that, but when it comes to the thing of angry ranting, like, there's no doubt, would you say that the show we do kind of centers around, like anger comedy or anything like that, like similar to AVG or Nostalgia Critic or anything like that?
Not really, but I do think there's probably going to be a moment where probably at least me will get really ticked at like maybe perhaps a song or a moment.
You do at every single song. The last one you were just talking about, not every song, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but if you remember, like the last one we did, my first G3 one.
Oh yeah.
A Charlie's Birthday. They didn't have a song, but they did have a. I guess you could say a musical moment. There was music playing in the background. They were dancing.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the heavy metal thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily heavy metal, but it was definitely rock pop guitar, and it sounded actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting that from G3. If anything, the song that got me mad was my very first episode. It was a G1 episode. Do you remember what it was called?
What? The first one we showed you?
Yeah.
I don't fucking... It was
furniture coming back to life. And,
it was like the Revolt of Paradise Estate.
Revolt of Paradise Estate, yeah, because
the trippy one
the song in that, for one, sounded like a Randy Newman song, at least in the second episode. And the door, whoever voiced the door, could not sing. And that kind of what the f***?
Well, he's a door, he squeaks. He's a door,
he really sounded like nails on a chalkboard, literally.
Yeah, he's a door, he squeaks.
So
that was the joke.
I wouldn't say that we are we use a lot of angry comedy, but we are prone to using it from time to time.
Yeah, I mean,
Brawny, you guys are more sarcastic than anything else.
Isn't that basically the point? I mean,
in
a way, I mean,
And we definitely, well, how should I say this?
We're not experienced.
Yeah, and this next one we got coming up, oh, you guys, like Evan's been saying, you're never going to guess it.
Even Brawny, you're never going to even guess what we watch in the next episode. It's, going to be almost impossible for you to know.
Is it me?
No.
It should be me.
What, you want us to do an entire episode of Mystery Brony Theater where it's just a large picture of your face on the screen, we just remove all the episodes and it's just us making random comments at it?
Yeah, take that one picture of Solrak and I from Everfree Northwest 2013 and slowly, Ken Burns zoom in on it on the movie theater while playing Korya Kiskotsky from and just riff that.
Yes. Also, Master Code, no, it's not going to be Chuck Norris versus the Wolfman. Is that a real thing? Because if it is, I want you to link it to me. That sounds fucking awesome.
Chuck Norris versus the what?
The Wolfman. That sounds awesome, man. But yeah, I'll be sure to do that as a video. I'll just take audio from different episodes of Mystery Brony Theater, splice them together, and just do a museum-esque slideshow of pictures of you that either I took or on the internet or whatever.
Now, Brian, I know you don't want us to discuss what we just made, but because it's not out yet. But
we did an entire stream yesterday where we told people what we made.
Yes, but the stream is no longer public. I got rid of it.
Oh, damn.
Well, what can you tell them about what we were making?
Well, I can tell them that it was an installment of A Buck to the Face and that there will be a little bit of slapstick comedy involved.
A lot.
And that it was very difficult to shoot.
Yeah, that was the thing that was always bugging me is whether or not the shots we took yesterday was good. I'm still desperate to know whether or not they worked.
We did some filming, some live action filming at night, and it may or may not have come out usable. I really hope it did, because if it didn't, then I've got to try to salvage it in post-production, which is, I don't have faith in my abilities to do, just from a technological standpoint.
Wait, how about we make this interesting?
And failing that, I have to get everybody back and reshoot the whole thing.
I think I know what we can do here to make the stream interesting. Why not take a look at it now and we can get the reaction to what you think?
No.
Come on, we're here, and we were in it too. So the reactions from us would be also in it.
Yeah, but I'd rather not. Also, I don't know where my SD card reader is, and it would take quite a bit of effort for me to go dig up. I haven't even unpacked my truck yet, so yeah. I gotta. I have had zero time since when I when I started heading over to Cruiser's house to the present to do anything. It has been constant moving.
Master Code, you will only get one.
I don't blame you, Brawny. If push comes to shove, though, I'm definitely down for shooting again. Because I really did have fun doing that. It was. It was a bit of a... it was a little hard for Evan because he actually had to do a lot more physical performing along with his dialogue. And it can become a bit of a struggle trying to juggle the two at the same time.
Right. And there are technological limitations that we have given our budget.
Well, my character is usually an energetic person, so it didn't really much bug me. The only thing that was bugging me, I feel like I did a lot more, and like I was the one that was stealing the show. But I'm not trying to be that guy.
Well, that's fine. I mean, the premise of this particular one was your idea, so that's perfectly fine by me. Plus, since we know we did it in live action, I can say that I definitely want my freaking face on camera as little as possible.
Why'd you shoot
it works for King Sombra because I cover up with a wig and that crown covers most of my face and I've got all that big armor on. It's just it softens the blow. But every time I have to get on my camera with no costume and nothing covering my face, I have to pray to God that I don't lose a lens, that my glass doesn't crack.
One thing that we actually did for some of the exterior shots, everyone, so we actually went to my dad's house to film some of this because he has a pretty good location, or at least a good setting.
Yeah.
And so me, Evan, Brawny, and another friend of ours, Josh, all get to my dad's place, and he's seeing these 4 people trying to shoot something, and we get the first couple of shots, and then realize, oh shit, the mic wasn't on.
Yeah, that just threw the whole thing way off.
Yeah, because for the shot we were making, we needed a dusk setting.
Yeah.
And when you shoot at night, especially in the golden hour, it's not easy considering you want to do the whole.
Well, especially at the end of November, because golden hour doesn't last for an hour, like the name would imply. Golden hour lasts for about 10 minutes.
It's crazy. I mean, yeah. By the way, Nathan, I will be getting to that towards the stream about the Turkey Day Marathon and the big announcement. But yeah, that was the thing. What was worse is Justin's dad's house had a bit of the Full Sail backlot-itis issue that it had. Was
airplanes.
Yeah, Full Sail University is located next to an airport, which they have a backlot in.
It's located in the center of 3.
Right, and Higgins is right next to an airport, which it wasn't really that much of a big deal, honestly.
Not really, because this one was more of a private airport. This wasn't for public transportation. So we do get some, but it's not that many, and they don't last very long.
Yeah. All right, so here's what we're gonna do next time. We're gonna go. We're gonna build our own house, and it will be the only house in all of Florida that has a basement. So then, in our basement,
technically, if we have a basement,
the basement will be the sound stage, and where we have complete control of the environment, and we can make our own environment and get the lighting perfect, and it'll stay that way, and we won't have to worry about cars or dogs or air conditioners or airplanes, and it'll just be absolute Shambhala.
Isn't the environment? If we're going to control the environment, isn't the environment kind of controlling the point where you can't really make a basement? Isn't it too dangerous to make a basement in Florida or something like that?
I don't know, but you should have known that I wasn't being serious the second I said Floridian basement.
I don't take you serious in either way, so yeah.
Well, you should. I'm very smart.
It's funny you say that because we had this one guy who used to come to the gala. I'm not going to say his name, but
Ryan Laskusky. That was his name.
No,
that's his alias name, Ryan Laskusky.
No, I don't know who that is.
I know who it is.
But this Brawny Buck? I bet it was Brawny Buck. I hate that guy.
Old gentleman who like to cosplay as George R.R. Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that definitely doesn't narrow it down to like maybe two, if not one person. But yeah, go ahead.
As if he'll remember. But the thing is that you guys got a chance to finally see my house, my room. I do have quite the massive autograph collection. And at one point, I posted a small little video on my Facebook page for it. And he goes like, "Oh, geez, you're making your room look like a basement." I go, "There are no basements in Florida." Which my parents thought was a really great burn to the guy.
I wouldn't say it would be a burn. It would be more of an informative statement, but you know.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, you see back in up north, we have these things called basements, and they're just these things these like underground places that you can just. I forget you were born in the north.
It was a good comeback.
It was a good comeback, or at least an informational one.
Like basically, the guy is saying that my room looks like a basement, that I come off as a loser, and then I go, well, Florida doesn't have any basements.
Yeah, I live in my parents' garage. Wait.
Which is much better.
I still don't think it works that well, but I'm not going to take it from you. So yeah, good job.
Well, nobody likes
No
the guy
windows.
anyway, so.
No, not a whole lot of people like that guy.
Yeah.
And we actually filmed we did actually film a lot of the interior shots here in my room, because my room is literally a furnished garage, and so we actually had to move like every piece of furniture back against the garage wall so we can prop up this giant green screen.
Yep.
And my cats, I have to say, were pretty good. If anything, we had this not so living cat, or at least not a toy cat, that was more of a nuisance.
I'm looking at
Yes.
the chat room. If you guys know who this guy is in the chat, by the way, do not say his name. If you do, you will be banned from this chat.
Who is?
I said anybody in general. It's like if anybody knows who we're talking about in the chat room, do not mention his or her name, or else you will be kicked from the chat.
They're harsh. Evan,
Yep.
I need you to do something for me.
Okay.
I need you to show them the cat.
I don't have a cat.
Go get the cat.
My cat's under my parents. I'm
We're
not gonna.
talking about
I know that you have the cat. Go get it.
Okay.
People need to see the cat.
last night, dude.
The cat. Oh, that. Do I need to show it to them? Oh, maybe some gum. I like gum.
Evan's
Okay.
got to take like 3 shots of whiskey first,
All
so
I
we
have is Clear America.
can handle this.
And the rest of you might want to take a shot too.
Okay. So I want to tell you guys a little thing here. And oh wait, I
Take
got
a shot every time Brawny hits 2 keys at the same time.
I'm sorry about here. I'm going to do a quick plug here. I got a message from Bright Idea, actually. She says, "Hey there, Evan, just letting you know that I'm finally and fully done with my upcoming epic video. It is scheduled to be released tomorrow afternoon. Thanks again for the motivation you gave me to complete my project in less than a month. I'll also do my best to send you the remaining lines for your project as soon as I can." Look out for a new video on Bright Idea's page. Anyway, I posted a picture last night of Josh and Cruiser just looking at their phones, right? And it just says making a video hard at work. And the only comment on there's only one comment on there. It says kitty cat kitty cat kitty cat keyboard, kitty cat keyboard, kitty cat fucking keyboard.
Evan, play me the song of my people.
Okay. What, should I make it louder?
No, it's too loud. Plus, we can't see what you're doing.
I'm playing the piano. What else would I do?
It's out of frame though.
Fine.
Yeah, we were having fun with this thing yesterday.
Also, there's this breakage here on the back. I'm not even going to tell you how that happened.
And Yeah, and what Brony was talking about earlier about hitting two notes, he was supposed to just hit one note on this keyboard, but he kept accidentally hitting two at the same time.
The microphone only works if it's like really close. Really close. I think I left the mouse in your room, by the way.
Probably. No, wait. Press the meow button.
The what? The meow button.
Meow button. And now play the song of my people.
Yes, Matt Fluffernutters, I am Gene from Bob's Burgers. You're definitely going to want to hear this on the karaoke version because, you know, you literally have to get close to the mic to do this thing. There's a record button. Let me see if that works. Hey ho, 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 hey ho. So I hit play right afterwards. Doesn't even work.
I think you can only record notes that you play, so I don't know that it records voice.
Oh my god. There you go. There's the song of your people. I'm glad to see this is bringing back Mario Paint memories of you, Mr. Long Live Oakland for. What else we got here? You press this thing. What does it do? Why would it play a song about? Why would a cat piano play a song about a dog?
Oh, press the cat button on the other side of it.
Do I really need to?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think you do. I think you do.
Oh my god.
The cat button.
Sounds like Cruiser. It doesn't even make any sense.
No, there's no part of that makes any sense.
So Fluffernutter says he could see Finster playing this, so yeah, I'll be sure to make I might keep this and like do Mystery right there with an episode of Finster just playing this. But no, I think I'm going to destroy this thing in some way.
Yeah.
I made Evan buy that, and when he buys it, he sends me a picture of it and says, "How am I supposed to sleep knowing this is in the house?"
This is the same building at me. I was gonna say, like, I can imagine it in my head. I'm gonna have this like mounted on my closet of it, just looking at me like this. I also like how it has like 5 paw pads rather than just 4. It should be like
I show them what was left here in my room, Brawny?
No.
Okay.
No,
Well,
that's...
we'll save that one for the.
Yeah.
But some of the other things they had to do, again, we're not going to get into specifics here. It's going to be a little vague. Like they actually had to throw a bunch of stuff at me. One of them, twice actually, and Evan kept missing. Like he gets in the practice take, but he just kept missing my face for like every single.
How could you miss? He was 3 feet from you.
And my face is like, my head is like, you know, literally the size of a football on top to bottom. So no Hey Arnold jokes here. Like, how could you miss it?
Evan, dear God, the implications.
No one asked you. The thing is, if you leave this thing idle for so long, it's gonna growl and then just go meow. So throughout the shots, there's like.
Yeah, we're setting up getting ready to start, and this thing's to purr.
Yeah, there's like several shots of you hearing the thing in the background. You gotta make a gag reel for this one, honestly.
Yes, please.
I don't know that it will be picked up on the microphone because I had the microphone at a low setting.
We'll find out. Okay, we'll find out. If not with that thing, then at least with all the other shenanigans that went on.
By the way, I'm gonna block the camera for a moment there. I'm gonna shut off the camera for this thing because I want to show you guys. I actually found that we actually, so no one can see us now. I'm gonna show you guys. I found a way to slow down the video of that one scene that everybody was waiting for. So
yeah, but we don't want to watch it yet.
No, it's well. Nobody's gonna see it. I have it on thing. I'm just gonna show you how I slowed it down. I'm gonna turn the volume off for it.
Does it matter that I can still see you on Skype?
No, it's cool. They can't see us. So it's gonna be a little bright, but right there.
Boom!
You guys are never gonna know that what we just saw. I just put the thing back on.
Oh, they'll know eventually. Give it a week or two.
Oh boy, he had a long time there.
And I'm trying to think, what were some of the other things? We, as we said, we had our friend Josh with us, and he's actually a pretty good production assistant. He really was.
Yeah.
Give a lot of props to that guy. In some ways, like, he actually does a lot more in this field than we do. He actually makes his own video games.
Yeah.
Which, you know, like, dude, that's friggin' awesome. He was talking with my dad about some of the various, like, slot machine and casino games that he made for Carnival Cruises, and my dad was actually impressed. It takes a lot to impress my dad.
I can imagine.
But there were some times when Josh forgot to turn on the mic as well. Like, that's actually what happened with the dusk shots that we were trying to get.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think if he had anything else, but because I wouldn't say, like, he wasn't a fly on the wall. He wasn't. He actually, you know, helped. He did do his job great.
Despite him
We
falling
were
asleep a couple
have him
times.
again. We'd be thrilled to work with him again.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I was filming for Whirl, I didn't have a cameraman. I had this little mirror behind the camera, so the shots are gonna look okay for the most part. It helped, at least a little bit, maybe.
But Brawny, you actually go to his house every time you go to record lines, right?
Yeah, he's the reason why I can still make a buck to the face,
Okay.
despite all the other technological setbacks I've been having the last few months. But yeah, because he's got a decent space to record in. He is right next to an airport, so that often becomes a problem. But it's a space to record in, and he's been helping me a lot lately. And yeah, we're probably going to be working together more, doing a lot of stuff actually.
Yeah, make him the new sidekick. I mean, you haven't done anything with Scan in a while, so yeah.
That's true.
It's like the one joke from that one
he
episode
does-
I love. We're just telling him to go back to Brawny Buck's page.
And when we were actually setting up the interior shots, and keep in mind, like I said, it was a green screen, so it's not like we had, we were setting up like for like an actual sitcom set, but we did do a small live stream, and like we kept getting messages from like Heather Blossom and some people like that. And just went, wow, Heather, no wonder you ship yourself with Brawny.
Yeah, I gotta get in contact with her. I would love to have her on
Yeah,
the show.
she I can guarantee you she'd like to do that. But yeah, she freaking hates it when people do that.
When people ship you two together?
Yep.
I don't see
I
it.
thought she was the one who started that.
No, that was Sweetie Bloom in collaborate. That was Sweetie Bloom with the help of Buck Wild.
It's a video I don't know that we should know about.
No, that's just something that they decided that we should be an item, and they got pretty much everybody on that ship except the two people that would need to be on that ship.
I don't know. I wouldn't see you being shipped with anybody, honestly.
Yeah, neither do I.
I mean, like, you don't look like the guy who would be interested in anybody, so, yeah.
You're saying that Brawny is asexual?
I don't know. He, like, how do you reproduce?
Well, now I know you've lived a sheltered life, Evan,
Okay.
but when a man and a woman love each other very much, they gotta go down to the church, and then they gotta go down to the courthouse and get a wedding certificate. At which point, okay, I don't feel like going any further.
Yes, I like how people say that, and I love to not interrupt them, and I just love to see how far they can get. Then again, this is coming from the only guy in this whole
Well,
chat.
my prudish self is not going to get much further than I did.
I don't know, because, well, maybe. I mean, I after all, I am the only guy in this whole Skype call who has been with a girl for 6 years, so, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like you're the only one who's ever gotten laid.
True.
But Brawny, at one point you were engaged.
What?
Yes, I was. That was 2012. It's been a while.
But my point is that it's not like you have no attraction to the opposite sex. Is what I'm getting.
Oh my god.
No, that's definitely not the case.
You just don't have anything to. You're just a little busy to focus on finding a popular person to be with rather than just.
Yeah, I'm a little more focused on. I look for other attributes first, but first and foremost at my mind right now is getting out of the situation that I'm in.
Well, yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, like, that's one thing I keep saying. I love my girlfriend very much, but I feel like if she was living in the same area with me, I'd either be broke or wouldn't have enough time to make videos. But like that's my preference there. You guys are familiar with Billy Joel, obviously, right?
Of course.
He did a song called Italian Restaurant. If you guys don't know what it is, it's a good song. Look it up. And the song.
Yeah, I know that song.
Yeah. Because of that song, I learned when it comes before you propose to a girl, you should live with them for about a year and then see how it works out, and then just go.
That's a terrible idea.
Of course it is.
Well, how so, Brony?
Well, but then again, that's what Bruce did. He took my advice, and now look where he is now.
Okay, but that is less than a couple of months old. It's not exactly we can say it's a success.
Well,
I don't want to get into the finer points of it now, but basically that's not a good idea. That usually causes more problems than it prevents or solves or anything like that.
Mm.
That depends on the person for me, really. This has been love advice with Brawny Buck.
Yeah, maybe some other time I'll go more in depth, but right now I don't feel like it.
I don't know. Give the lover advice. Do like a one-shot video a year of you just talking about giving love advice. Like every Valentine's Day, you just make like a 5-minute video of you just giving love advice to people.
Yeah, it's his own version of Dr. Drew called Dr. Buck.
If I could animate, there's something I wanted to do.
What was it?
Is pick a song and make like a Valentine's Day music video. And there's a few songs that I could pick from, but basically the premise is Evan gave me the love poison from Hearts and Hooves Day. But if you remember correctly, you had to give that to two people
in the same area.
But there is no. In my case, there is no other person, so it has twice the effect with no focus. So I end up running all over town, just hitting on everybody, without knowing what I'm doing. And I was thinking the song I would use would be what's it? Bad Case of Loving You by Robert Palmer. If not that, then the You Spin Me Right Round cover by Ninja Sex Party.
Oh, yeah, I still need to watch that.
So basically, you would be the Bizarro Johnny Bravo.
Bizarro Johnny Bravo.
I think Johnny Bravo is the Bizarro version of me.
There you go. That's perfect.
I just like Johnny Bravo. He was like everything that Flash Century isn't.
It's a weird, specific observation to make there, but yeah.
Well, no, because I remember watching, there was, we were talking about Adam West not too long ago.
You know what, let's face
it,
Ron, if you actually made the video, it has to be Johnny Bravo's theme in the background. The instrumental version, just have it in the background.
Yeah, but Adam West was actually on an episode of Johnny Bravo, and I remember just thinking about how, Flash, everyone kind of refers to as a waifu stealer, and Johnny Bravo, he tried to be that. He tried to get women, but they were just never into him.
Yeah, he was a perverted sex addict, wasn't he?
And I'll never forget too. Every now and then, I'll walk through a convention and I'll see a group of people talking, and I'll just stop and go, "Do the monkey with me," and just start doing it.
Do they do it?
Yeah, actually they did. The first time we went to Tampa Bay MegaCon, there's this group of Deadpools, just kind of just chit chatting, talking. I walk up to them and go, Do the monkey with me! And they all start doing the monkey.
See, he's learning. He's learning how to interact with everybody in Gaston. Johnny Bravo was the love child of Elvis and Gaston. I could believe that. That's what Sticky Sauce says.
Actually, I can. I can see that too.
That's the aspect. He was supposed to be Elvis, so.
All right, Mama. I'm a mama's boy. That's about as good as my Bravo can get.
Bravo to you.
Now, shit, I forgot what I was about to say.
So, for my another question here, what do you know about your channel's future for sure, exactly?
That I'm going to keep making videos to the best of my ability, and as frequently as possible. That's all I could tell you at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like, when you had the streak of doing the weekly thing there, it's kind of because of the whole thing you're going through, which is fine. Like,
yeah, well, I can't. Right now, I am on hiatus for A Buck to the Face, for the main story, because there was I needed a lot of animation assets made, and the people that were helping me with that had to back out at the last second. So I'm trying to get all that going together, and it's beyond my skill. And the whole reason I went with the plan for this season that I did was because I had everybody on board and they were encouraging me to do it, but then they had to withdraw their help. So now I'm stuck in the middle of a story that I can't continue until I get this help that I can't do on my own. It's stuff that's beyond my skill set.
Why did they back out?
Oh, just life got in the way.
I mean, you weren't sore about it, obviously, but yeah. Just...
No, I'm not. But Josh is saying he's going to help me out, and he knows this stuff, so I actually got to get in touch with him again and be like, okay, I need this happening as soon as possible. But
is it like Flash-based animation or something like that?
Yeah, and more specifically, there's a lot of unique posing going on that I wouldn't even be able to do with a Flash puppet.
Maybe you should learn just to use Flash first before to see whether or not you can do it.
Well, in order for me to do that, I need a computer that's about 3 times as good as the one that I work on, and in order for me to do that, I have to first live somewhere.
I hear you that one. I was gonna say, my buddy Rainbow actually knows a lot about Flash apparently, so yeah.
Cool.
You can ask him; he might be able to give you some pointers. He actually is open to helping.
Yeah, I am ready to learn it, and I've been wanting to learn it for years, but my computer can barely run the program, so my abilities to work in it are very limited.
Yeah, I can hear you that one. I mean, like, for me, I can never learn Flash. I tried doing the Linda tutorials for like an entire day, but it still didn't really stick with me, so I just like to experiment with my stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an actual question here. Brandon Ginder says, so do you guys like being bronies because I like being a brony? Yes?
Yeah. I think that would be obvious.
I like being one.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a lot of fun. I'm hoping it goes on for as long as it can. Yeah, I'm curious to see, what people will have to say about my content now that I'm making it. I would make more, but Evan is just, is too busy with other clients as well as his own job in school.
You just gotta write down something there, and I can just reschedule it. I mean,
Well, dude, I'm not, I'm not faulting. I'm just saying I'm not your only client.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got Bruce, so yeah.
Yeah, you got Bruce, plus you also got school and work.
I mean, for me, to answer that question, I'm apparently Sticky Sauce 101 likes being a smooze, but I think I'm a minority. But, for me, I don't know. I consider this fandom a curse to me. Just one of those curses that I've just lived with and enjoyed. I'll let you interpret that in any way.
That's a weird way to put it.
I'll let you interpret that in any way you'd like.
Okay, that just makes it worse.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever.
Uh-huh. That's what I thought.
I will say this though, it's kind of okay, for lack of a better word, we're gonna say bummersome when we go to, or at least when I go to a Brony convention and I'm in line to ask one of the voice actors or a writer a question, and they just they can't really respond, and not because of out of any contractual reason, but rather it's because they don't know the show as well as we do. Now, I'm not saying that they have to watch it or like it, but it's kind of a drag when you want to ask like John Delancey a question about Discord, like his character or something to help make you understand him a little bit, and John's like, I don't know.
I mean, you play so many characters, it's like I can imagine that it depends on what you want to hear. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's kind of, well, like I was listening when I get the chance at work, I like to listen to like panel Q&As on while I'm at work. And I remember listening, I should say. I was listening to a panel with Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, and the voice of Diva from Overwatch. And she said that like she does actually go into, one story of Overwatch and the game as well as the characters, because she doesn't want to disappoint those fans. And you would kind of hope that someone like John would feel the same way. Now, I'm not saying John wants to disappoint his fans, but it would be nice if he got a little bit more involved.
I guess so.
I believe that's an important thing to do as an actor. You got to know your character through and through. You've got to be intimately familiar with what you've done, not just because, in fact, not at all because of what fans might think, but because it's going to help your performance and maintaining consistency and understanding why you're doing certain things. It just helps to have that depth.
Yeah, like Peter knew, like he's not a Brony, he doesn't watch the show, but he does at least keep up with it, so that for one thing, he can talk to fans a bit more about his character, what he does, and a bit more with trying to talk a bit more about the craft as well. Because John, he tends to get the same questions over and over again, which, yeah, I remember he once said it's kind of boring, but well, dude, like, how about you watch the show? We're not saying you have to like it, but it'd be nice to know your thoughts about this, that, and the other.
Well, it depends. I mean, like, you look at some actors, they're like Harrison Ford, for example. He's never watched Indiana Jones,
which is kind of a disappointment.
There was a video well, that's the thing. Like, when it comes to actors, sometimes they don't want to see their performance because they might be a little embarrassed or something like that, because some people, it's kind of like how people say they don't like their voice, in a way, something like that. I don't know exactly how it's explained, but if you don't want to watch your stuff, I don't care. I mean, if you want to watch it, I remember, you guys can look this up if you can. This guy made this poorly made video called Sonic the Sprite Series, and I was on there to voice Mighty the Armadillo, and I only saw it once, and I never wanted to see it again because it was it was horrible. It was just painful for me to watch in terms of editing, honestly. If you guys want to look it up, it's in the video. It's in my playlist and it's the one playlist on my YouTube channel that says the videos I've been in. It's in the Sonic the Sprite series. Evan as Mighty the Armadillo.
But when you're on the convention circuit and you're attending panels and Q&As, I think it's helpful to at least know it. I mean, like I say, you don't want to disappoint those people. And if Harrison Ford is not on the convention circuit, then yeah, he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, he's not usually on the convention circuit. That's the thing. When it comes to whenever it's panels, the biggest well, I agree with you guys of knowing the character. One of the biggest major questions that are commonly asked are usually behind the scenes stuff. For the most part.
And I know when it comes to animation, there is not exactly a whole lot to talk about.
Exactly.
Because
I go and record and leave.
Well, when you're doing like a sitcom or anything live action, there's so much to do. There's so much to set up. There's so much chaos going around. Not that there isn't an animation, but it's drawn. They don't necessarily have to construct, well, in a literal sense, a set. Now they have to draw one, obviously, but still, I mean, people love Discord. They want to know a bit more about him, and I think it would be wise if John would actually indulge a little bit.
Sure, I mean, maybe
Everyone of course talks about Q from Star Trek, but he was only in 8 episodes of that series.
Was he really?
Yeah, I actually checked his IMDb page.
I don't know.
Q was only in 8 episodes.
I don't know. I didn't watch Star Trek, so yeah. I don't know what a Star Trek is, honestly.
It's a TV series.
I know it's a TV series. I don't even know what. I don't know. I mean, Brony, were you a Trekkie?
No. My mother was, but I've never watched it.
Yeah, you've never seen Star Wars either, so, you know.
I've seen Star Wars, I just don't like it.
You didn't even like the new one?
I didn't like the old ones that much. I don't like Star Wars that much.
At least you respect it, at least? I mean, it's like with me and Doctor Who, I don't watch the show, but I still respect it. I mean, like...
I guess. The story's alright. The choreography always kills it for me. It's based on all this... It's got all this sword fighting in it, and it's no good.
Well, in the prequels, they did more, like, traditional sword play.
No, they didn't. They amped the choreography a bit, but it was still bad choreography.
Well, I know. Well, if you look at like the fighting styles of, like, say, young Obi-Wan, as well as the guy who Christopher Lee's character, they had a certain style that was like based on actual swordsmanship.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it was showing through.
I mean, I'll admit, Luke Skywalker...
Like, did you really want me to go into an hour-long explanation and pull up, all the Star Wars fights and explain to you why they don't work? Because that's what it would take for me if I were to go into any further depth. The choreography in the Star Wars series is bad. It always has been bad. And it will probably always will be bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't say always, but, I mean, Rogue One had good military strategic choreography.
Okay, I haven't seen Rogue One.
Rogue One was amazing. Just you've seen Saving Private Ryan, right?
Yep.
Did you like that movie?
Yeah, I guess I didn't particularly enjoy it, but it was a good movie.
It was essentially something similar to that, only with like a different, with like some. It wasn't like trying to. It was kind of like similar, but like more like similar choreography. Like the fight on the beach planet where they're like hiding in the trees, like trying to get into the base was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they already did make the Grey Jedi canon flippers. I think Qui-Gon had a thing there. I don't know.
Now, we are coming up on the final 5 here soon, and since we have Brawny, I think it's appropriate that we actually start a bit sooner.
The final 5 is when we like give closing thoughts.
Okay. What closing thoughts on what?
Anything. Give us the closing.
Life, your projects, or
anything.
any upcoming events you got.
Anything. Just tell us something.
Let's see. I think I've told you guys pretty much everything. Right now, I'm working on I'm trying to get a buck to the face back on the tracks here. That's about it. The more patronage I have, the easier that's going to be. Let's see here. No, I don't really have anything else. Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government is lying about 9/11.
You could tell them about what that we are going to try to see if we can vend at some conventions here soon.
Yeah, I didn't want to though, because that's. I mean, I'm real particular about telling people that I'm going to do stuff because it usually is an instant way to curse whatever I'm working on.
Thank you.
I don't like to tell people anything. I don't like to show people anything until it's actually done. Until it's 100% happening and I'm on the way there to make it happen.
Thank you.
I
post like screenshots of progression.
That is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I don't know if it'll ever happen though, so there's really no point in talking about it.
I'm not the type that would vend either because I don't like. Because if I was at a convention, I just want to fool around and hang and have fun. I wouldn't want to stand at a chair the entire day and watch.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. If that's the question you're asking me, all I could really say is that I'm trying to make things happen, but I don't know how long it's going to take.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Evan?
No, it's your turn. You always go first.
Okay, fine. Hours at work have been cut for whatever reason. So if this is going to be the way the hospital is going to, schedule me for time, I am going to definitely put a serious effort towards getting my voiceover demo reel made and posting it on various non-union voiceover websites. See if I can possibly get work. Everyone's been saying that I have a voice for radio, so okay, let's do it.
I also have a voice for radio at one point.
You got a face for radio too.
Very funny.
Isn't it? So, just see if I can try to earn a little extra cash. I have had several private coachings with Kathy Westlake and Peter New. So I'll be curious to see, what this could bring, if anything at all. So that's basically what I'm mainly focused on. Nothing really that interesting. I can't really do anything with Hoof Rock until Evan has some free time.
Yeah, you could start writing it. So that way you can make sure everything's good. Take some.
Start writing it. I told them last week that the songs that I was doing. So there's not really much to add to that.
You could just learn. Just go look more into how to edit on Premiere.
That's a possibility. But just in case if anyone's new here, though, the songs I'll be doing this time is actually 2 songs in 1 episode. It's going to be The Spectacle and Just a Pony. Because those 2 songs were in 1 episode, so I might as well critique them both in one as well. Plus, also, I can see what they were trying to do with both those songs, so I might as well, talk about them both in the same episode.
Okay, so I guess that leaves me.
And I'll be watching this too. I can finally figure out what's going to be the big deal with Rick and Morty.
Yeah, you'll probably like it. You probably won't get the whole cult following thing there. Okay, me. Bruce's next video for Shade Site Studios is going to be published real soon. I'm actually going to be completing it soon. I'm actually going to be adding a new aspect using my GoPro, switch back and forth kind of thing. Hopefully that will turn out good. And the only other thing I think of is, I don't know, I added color to my picture of the cow, so yeah. I'll post this on DeviantArt right after the stream if I can. I'll just scan it and just post it there. If you want the original copy, I could just send it to you or something like that. So, yeah.
And we'll definitely be keeping you guys posted whenever Brony is done editing this particular episode of A Buck to the Face.
Well, probably that would be him on a subscriber page. So, like, yeah, subscribe to Brawny Buck. He does stuff and things. What?
Anyway, it's been fun. We'll see you guys next week.
Good. 7 o'clock, as usual. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hit it, Cambot.
Oh, I start. I get it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, pick it up. Bart. Open up your heart and let the Patrick Swayze Christmas in.
We'll gather at the roadhouse with our next of kin.
Not bad.
And Santa can be our regular Saturday night thing. We'll decorate a bar stool and gather round and sing.
Oh, let's have a Patrick Swayze Christmas this year.
Or we'll tear your throat out and kick you in the ear.
It's my way or the highway this Christmas at my bar.
I'll have to smash your kneecaps if you bastards touch my car.
I got the word that Santa has been stealing from the till.
I think that right jolly old elf better make out his will. Oh, let's have a Patrick Swayze Christmas one and all. And this can be the haziest. Ooh, this can be the laziest. This can be the Swayziest Christmas of them. La 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 la.